Speaking of bad movies, and I know this goes without saying, I get it, you know, Transformers movies are bad. But I saw Transformers the last night, people.
Well, you and I have gone on record as saying that we think the first one and third one are good.
Yes, I do think the first and third are good. And even though like the third is like ridiculous, I still think it's just a goofy action movie at the very least.
It's a Fast and Furious movie.
Which one has the dinosaurs?
No, that's the fourth one. That one's atrocious.
Yeah,
the third one just reminded me of a big scale fucking. It's Jurassic World. It's fucking Fast and Furious.
Now I know you might see this, but you can't really spoil this movie. I feel
that's why I don't care about talking about it. I'm seeing it on Sunday, but it's like whatever.
Because, and I know this is always a criticism of like Michael Bay and especially the Transformers movie, but it's like way to the like 100th degree of you can't follow anything that's going on. Especially the action, because at the very least I'm like, oh, maybe there'll be some cool action. Because I mean, Michael Bay, you know, you say what you will about him, he can shoot an action scene for the most part.
The design from the get go, the design of the Transformers makes the action inherently difficult to follow because there's like no color. And it just looks like a massive shape, so you don't really get. You look at Optimus and Bumblebee and like the ones that were borrowed heavily from the original design, and you compare them to like some of them just look like humans that are made of metal.
Yes,
like the design are all like there's no recognizable shape to a lot of like honestly, no joke. I've seen them all, and I could not tell you what Megatron looks like in those movies off the top of my head.
Oh yeah,
because he has no uniform, interesting design to him. He's just one of the robots. So I'm usually like, oh, well, out of a lineup, I bet I couldn't choose Megatron.
He's like the Captain Barbossa of Transformers. He's got like a lot on his face.
But either way, like it's hard to know even what's happening at all. Like when you're watching the scenes, you don't know. I couldn't tell a lot of times. Like, wait, what's going on? Who's that guy? And they have like I tweeted about this. The aspect ratio changes like almost every scene basically, and not just like here's an action scene so it's more in like an IMAX bigger moment, and then here's a dialogue so it's in letterbox like the Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises did. It's someone's talking and then it cuts to the other person and all of a sudden it's letterboxed and they're responding, and then it cuts back and it's like why it's not as wide. It's just this weird, bizarre choice. And I don't know, maybe a lot of people wouldn't notice it, but it was so fucking distracting to me.
It's like one of those music videos where the band asks fans to send in them singing it.
Yeah.
So like every section is just like clearly a different camera and a different lighting room, different quality of camera, and you're just like, what is going on? But at least like it's a music video, so you know, and that's your movie.
I thought the theater fucked up, but then I looked up online and no, it's just Michael Bay shot this with like 9 different cameras.
I was going to ask if it was just the theater.
That's what I thought. I was like, there's no way that this is how this movie is. The stupid theater fucked it up. But no, I guess Michael Bay was testing out different cameras, and he just wanted to try all this shit out.
What a great way to test it out on your fucking multi-million-dollar movie.
Hey, it's your last movie. How about you experiment?
And remember the trailer we watched with the little girl that's like, fight like a girl? I'm going to fight like a girl or whatever. And even like in a lot of the trailers, she's in it. She is not really in this movie at all.
Whoa, really?
And
is she T.J. Miller from the last movie?
No, Gerard Carmichael's T.J. Miller in this movie. Like, he's literally just T.J. Miller's character. Do you know, like, he's like a black comedian. He's just had an HBO special.
I mean, that, like, he's a big actor who was kind of a main character, and then they kill him almost immediately.
Well, they don't kill him, but he's basically, he serves the same purpose.
Oh, okay.
But both him and the girl, and honestly, I would have welcomed if it just focused on the girl. Like I even said when we watched the trailer, if it focused on the girl and she was like smart and could fix Transformers and shit, and it was this like more her story, I would have probably liked it. Because in the beginning, there's a good amount of that, and I kind of liked it, and then it just goes fucking off the rails.
I would have guaranteed she was in it a ton.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It really feels like they added this. They added her part later because they're seeing online like female characters, and
they had a whole trailer based around her.
She's in it like at the beginning, then she's not in it like for at least an hour and a half, and then she kind of gets wedged in towards the end a little bit, and then that's like it.
That's insane.
It's insane, because they keep cutting around. Like there's no way of following what's going on. I mean, they keep going back to like Merlin and like the Knights of the Round Table and all that shit.
Which is
And-
it's so
It's
crazy
absurd.
that like I remember hearing the rumors ahead of time and everyone's like, no, that's crazy.
And like every movie, because I could have sworn they just did this in the last movie. They keep trying to like squeeze in that the Transformers have been around forever.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is how Merlin was just a drunk loser, but he happened to know a Transformer. And the Transformer gave him his staff and helped him in a battle with a dragon. And then everyone's like, oh, it's the best. And Merlin is actually one of the Witwickies, like Shia LaBeouf in the other movies.
Oh, okay.
And honestly, this movie needed Shia LaBeouf. If it had Shia LaBeouf, it probably would have been way better.
Well, you could say that about every movie, though.
Yeah. So, but
Maybe
they
not
keep-
Indiana Jones.
They focus on this
He
shit.
was one of the good parts about that movie.
They focus on this shit so much about the Merlin thing. So like what happens is like first we start out with the kids, and the kids are in Detroit or whatever, and Detroit's like post-apocalyptic like it is anyways, except there's Transformers bodies there.
Take that, Detroit.
And,
Jim and
uh,
them thinks you're fucking run down.
And it's great because this in like it's just these kids are like, you want to see some dead robots? It's like Stand By Me. And honestly, I would have loved if the
I
whole
was just saying, I bet
movie.
you liked that aspect.
That's great.
I this is all the stuff I liked. If the whole movie was just following kids like running away from Transformers and getting caught up in shit, I would have thought it was great. So they go and they're looking at the Transformers dead bodies, but then they almost get like fucked up, and the little girl comes running out and saves them, and she has Squeaks is like a little Vespa like broken Transformer. He was great too. If he was in it more, I would have loved it.
It's a Vespa Transformer.
Yeah, but he can't transform. He's broken.
Aw.
And then there's a moment where like she saves them because she has the help of like a big Transformer who like he's a Transformer, but on his back is like a big rock formation, so he can cover them. I think he was called like Undercover or something stupid like that. But they immediately kill Undercover. Like,
Oh no!
Like-
Is that the one that kind of looks like Bumblebee in the trailer?
yes,
It's not Bumblebee.
Yes.
Okay.
And in the trailer you think like, oh, it's probably gonna be like a big moment where she's like, I'm not leaving you. This is within the first 10 minutes of the movie that you had just met him, and then he just gets like a bomb shot in his back, and he's like dying, and she's like, I'm not gonna leave you. And then Mark Wahlberg just runs from out of nowhere and like saves her and the kids with Bumblebee, and then they have a standoff with the military because the military they're continuing what they did in the last one where the Transformers are illegal or whatever,
Right.
and they're trying to like the military's trying to round up all the Transformers. But Josh Duhamel's there, and he knows Mark Wahlberg because Josh Duhamel's been every
Yeah.
one of these
He's
fucking
the only one
movies.
that's been in all of them.
And so Marky Mark's like, come on, B, let's go. They're not going to do shit. And then they don't just because Josh Duhamel's there, so they just leave. And then there's just these moments where they're at the junkyard, and that's when Mark Wahlberg has his banter with the little girl, and she's like, I want to fight, and I'm tough, and I can fix them. And then he's all sad because he's on the run from the FBI, and he calls his daughter, but he can't talk to her because
Because they couldn't get the actress to come back.
yeah. And like, well, she talks, but he doesn't because he doesn't want them to be like, they'll find his location. He's a wanted fugitive, whatever.
Yeah, because they can only trace your call if you speak.
Yeah. Plus, they know where he is, anyways. Like, we find out that the military, they keep cutting to the military, and the military's like,
There he is.
well, like, oh, because Mark, they find a knight. They find a Transformer that looks like a knight that crashed in Detroit, in the area. And he gave Mark Wahlberg this like talisman, and this is all tying in with the Merlin shit. But the talisman just like crawls up on him and like attaches it to his arm, and you never know what it does or what, like why it's important. It's only important so later on Anthony Hopkins, who's one of the Witwickies, can be like, "You have the talisman. You're a knight." Like just like
Oh,
that's
How did they
No.
get Anthony Hopkins to do this movie?
I mean, he's kind of great, and he calls the guy a fat ass at one point. Like, but like they keep trying to make.
That's
But
what you love. You're like, I loved when Anthony Hopkins
no,
felt
it's
like
in
a
my
fat
notes.
ass.
In my notes, I love that he's running through a library and he's like, "Out of the way, fat ass." But they try to make him funny as well because he like talks about snugging chicks and like he'll randomly say stuff. And they have the worst character, the worst Transformers characters.
Wait, worse than the racist robots from 2?
I think
Ooh.
so.
That's the last thing I remember about any Transformers movie. Because that's the last one I saw.
No, it's Cogman is his name. He's a British Transformer. He's Anthony Hopkins is like ward or butler or whatever.
Ugh.
But
like
he
Cogsworth.
and Cogman it goes there to get Mark Wahlberg, but every now and then, for no reason, Cogman gets violent and wants to like beat up Mark Wahlberg for no reason. Actually, I think there's a clip on YouTube. Let me show you Cogman. He sucks, and he's in the movie constantly. He's always there, just having a British accent and being fucking lame and annoying.
Remember when the biggest thing everyone was worried about in these movies was they're like, I can't believe there's going to be an iPod transformer. Can't believe one of them's going to be an iPod. Now look where we are.
Yeah, dude, you gotta see fucking Cogman.
Okay, let's see Cogman.
Let me pull it up for the chat. Don't want anyone to miss this.
Why is he human-sized?
He never changes in anything.
He's just a
He's
robot?
just a butler. He's a robot butler.
Fuck this.
I'm an inventor.
Oh, you're an inventor.
Yes, I am.
Oh, and there's
She
Peter
invented.
Quill's mom. Peter Quill's mom is like the love interest for
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is her.
for Mark Wahlberg. She's a smart. She actually is the last remaining. Even though they keep saying she's like the last remaining descendant to Merlin or the Witwickies. So are they telling me that Shia LaBeouf is dead? Because when they're
Oh, yeah.
when Anthony Hopkins is talking about all the Witwickies, they do show a quick picture, and I think they purposely found a picture where he looks all high and fucked up, and it just says Sam Witwicky underneath it, and it looks like a fucking like a mugshot or something.
A lot of things.
Like?
Like a lot of things. Like things that you've heard of.
Like?
Well, things that you will have heard of, okay? Patents are pending.
He's an inventor. He hasn't invented anything.
Ah. Don't say it. What's You know, I could do that too. Oh, I'm English and I'm too cool for feelings. What, I've come here to be insulted by some overeducated Ivy Tower princess? Go!
What's your problem?
What?
Yeah, he's just attacks
Why did the
them.
special
Because he
effects
was,
on him look like the worst thing I've ever seen?
Dude, that's the thing. All the effects look bad. Well,
That's like
maybe
supposed
not
to be.
all of them,
That's
but
supposed to be like the only
Yeah.
thing that's good in these movies.
a lot of them look really bad.
Like even the ones I like there's a lot of trash, but at least what you're looking at looks cool.
There's a point where they have to get on a submarine. There's a submarine like in a museum, but it's a transformer clearly, although it never transforms into anything. Well, like I mean,
Why doesn't anything
it's just a
transform anymore?
submarine. Like it never turns
Yeah, that's
into
like
a
the ninth transformer you've said this movie doesn't transform at all.
Well, he just stays a submarine. He never turns into like a robot. But they have to get into him to go to the place to find the thing. Like who gives a fuck? And there's a point where they're in the submarine, and then Cogman shoots himself out of the like where the torpedoes go, and they're like, "Where's he going?" And then he's just mumbling in British. Then he comes back with
In
two
British?
he just comes back with two big fish, and he makes sushi and like a romantic dinner for Mark Wahlberg.
How long was
Jim,
this?
that
Dude, this
sounds-
movie is forever.
Jim, that
This-
sounds fake.
I feel like everything you've described could not have possibly taken the time of a movie to happen.
Well,
No,
the
yeah.
last one, the fourth one I saw, it feels like it might have been the longest movie I've ever
This
seen in
movie
my
is
life.
forever long. It's forever. And the other thing is, we were talking about how the girl's not in the movie. Optimus Prime is not in this fucking movie. You know all the stuff you see in the trailers with bad Optimus Prime?
Yeah.
That's in like the last half hour.
That was supposed to be like the fun, cool thing was that Optimus was a bad guy
no,
in the movie.
No, that's in like the last half hour. Most of the movie, like Megatron's back just because.
Wait, why?
Yeah.
How? How'd
He's
you
just-
know it was him?
He's just back. Yeah,
Did
because
someone call him by his name?
They just say it's him. Like
How
they,
did
they,
you recognize him throughout the movie when he kept showing back up?
But yeah, I mean, there's a point because in the last movie, Optimus did leave to go find his maker or whatever. And this movie starts out first. We see Merlin and all that. Then we just see Optimus Prime just floating through space, but he looks dead. He floats through space and then arrives at what's their planet? Because Unicron's like the evil one, but what's
Unicron's you talking about Energon? Or no, that's a cube. Oh crap! Why can I not think of what it's
Yeah, I
called?
can't think of their.
Circuiturful.
It's something. Oh, Cybertron.
Yeah, Cybertron.
Yeah,
duh.
Cybertron's
Oh, duh.
destroyed.
These dumb fucking names. Why does anybody like Transformers?
Yeah, we just see a couple scenes of like that. What we see in the trailer, like there's that lady transformer,
like the angel thing.
Yeah, that just starts torturing him and taking over Optimus Prime to make him bad. And then like, well, we're not like, see you later, Optimus Prime. We'll see you at the end of this movie. What was some of my other notes here? Yeah, well, what is this fucking story? What is this fucking British Transformer? Why does he go fishing? Oh, they have this other. There's a lot of jokes in this movie.
Good.
Like when they bring Mark Wahlberg into the secret area where it's like they're at where the Knights of the Round Table is and all that, and they're talking about the story and how they have to find Merlin's staff. And then Anthony Hopkins is like, yeah, you have the talisman, so you're a knight. And they start saying like what makes a knight, like, you know, integrity and all that stuff. And then they're like, and you got to be chaste. And he's like, I was chased over here. Like, this is real.
Oh no.
And then the girl's like, no, chaste. Like, when was the last time? And he's like, it's been a while. And then she's like, well, how long's a while? Like, there's this fucking, and then even Anthony Hopkins like, a
Wait,
while?
what's chaste mean?
Like chastity?
Like chastity, like not having sex.
I've never heard that word or term ever used.
You gotta. It's like it is like a night thing. Like I have like chastity belts and all that stuff.
but I know I've heard chastity. I've never heard
Yeah.
chaste before.
But so yeah, and then there's just this long back and forth where they're all kind of making fun of Mark Wahlberg because he hasn't
He
gotten
hasn't
laid
fucked
in a
in a
long
while.
time. And then Star-Lord's mom, her thing too, is she's a professor or whatever, and she's an expert in history, and she thinks Merlin's bullshit. Like, she just so happens to be teaching a class where she says the Knights of the Round Table is bullshit. Then she finds out she's a descendant of Merlin. But there's this running gag where
How embarrassing.
where her mom and her aunts are always like, when are you going to meet a guy? When are you going to settle down? And then, of course, when Mark Wahlberg shows up, they're like, ooh, look at this fucking hunk. But they have to run into her dead dad's study to find the map to Merlin's fucking staff. And so they're just like ripping the place apart. But downstairs, the mom and the aunts think they're fucking because they're like, ooh.
But that's such a
Like-
Transformers joke. Like, having seen all of them, even the
Yes.
ones I like. I
Well,
remember the first one, there's a joke about masturbation that
Well,
keeps
I
coming
mean,
up.
in the
and
second
it
one,
seems just like that.
Well, the second one, the dogs are, but it's not good. I'm just saying it's not good.
oh, yeah, yeah.
The second one, yeah, the dogs are fucking every time they cut to them. But yeah, and of course they're just doing stuff like, you know, you want me to stop? No, keep going. Oh, this is good.
Oh,
like,
God. What is this, fucking an old American Pie movie?
and the scene just ends with one of the aunts or the mom being like, I'm gonna go look, and they're like, don't look.
Hey, have you figured out that they think it's sex yet?
Oh, and there's a point where when they're going on the big mission, when they're like they're gonna go up to try to stop, because the whole thing, I feel like every movie, it's the Transformers are trying to turn Earth into Cybertron because Cybertron's gone. So this movie again, they bring like they bring the broken planet of Cybertron to Earth, and they're trying to like suck the life out of Earth and rebuild their planet.
Okay.
So they're flying up to the mainframe to stop it from happening. And then Mark Wahlberg, he's like, let me use your phone, man. I got to text my daughter. And he texts her, and he's like, look up in the sky. I'm doing this for you. But then he puts like 3 smiley face emojis on there, and it just made me crack up. Oh, and fucking Tony Hale is from Arrested Development. What's his name? Buster.
Buster?
Oh, Buster.
He's
okay.
in it. He's like a physicist that's like warns us how Cybertron's coming, and he's always the guy that's yelling in the screen like, we can't be relying on Merlin and Merlin's staff. We need science. Every time it cuts to him, he's always like, I'm going to rely on numbers. We got to do this. We got to do this. It's so annoying because he comes up with an idea like there's all these things hanging off the planet, and there's one like attached up here. And he's like, if we blow it up, it'll come up like a golf club and just knock the mainframe off the other land that's floating.
What a dumb thing.
And they do that while, of course, Mark Wahlberg and the girl are there. So there's a big scene of like sliding and flying around. Oh, and at one point, a Transformer has a gun that can like stop time. Like he'll shoot at things, and it puts an
oh,
orb.
yeah. By the way, there's a Transformer with a gun that stops time. By the way.
It puts an orb around like 2 things, and they're in slow motion, and you're in regular motion. That comes in later because when they almost fall to their death, they're like, "Ugh," and they shoot the gun and save them or whatever. There's also a car that, since they're in England, it has a French accent. But there's like a long scene where he's like, I don't have a French accent. This is how I talk. And they're going back and forth a lot about like his French accent and if it works.
Good.
And
Thank God. How far in the movie is that? I'm excited for that moment.
it's about halfway through Forever. One of the best moments.
Are you still watching the movie like right now?
Dude, there were moments where, and I've never done this, but I kept thinking like I could just get up and leave. I only paid $1.50 to see it because on my Crown Club card I had a free ticket. But if it's a new movie, they don't give you the full free. You have to pay $1.50. But I kept thinking like I could get up and leave right now. But yeah, so you know how Bumblebee still can't talk and it's the 5th movie, and he still talks with the radio.
Wait, what? I thought they got rid of that after like the 3rd movie.
No, it's still, but it's a big thing in this one because
Oh.
they finally find the fucking what's his name from Roseanne and Big Lebowski?
John Goodman?
Yeah, this movie fucking made me really dumb and I can't remember things. But the John Goodman Transformer's like, yeah, we found a part. We could put his voice back
He's
in.
one of the ones, by the way, that doesn't look like a Transformer. He just looks like a human that's a robot human.
Well, he has a cigar.
Yeah,
he has a
does
big
it.
cigar and
Yeah,
shit.
and a beard. It's like he doesn't look like a Transformer. He looks like a robot man.
So yeah, John Goodman Transformer's like, oh, wow, we found a voice box for him. Yeah. But then ends up being a trick because when Mark Wahlberg puts it in, it's like a girl voice, and Bumblebee gets all like pissed off.
Did
And
they just assume Bumblebee's gender
Yeah.
by the fact that he's mad that he sounds like
But
that?
and the thing is, honestly, when Optimus showed up and Optimus and Bumblebee were fighting, I was in. And I was like, oh, if this movie was just this, if it was like Optimus came to Earth and he's fucking evil.
That's
and
what
they have
made
to
3
deal
so
with it,
good. That's all 3 was just like fucking weird dope fights.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
It would have been fine. And I like Bumblebee a lot, so I was concerned that Bumblebee was going to die. But they did do this dumb setup where at the beginning, Bumblebee shows up to save Mark Wahlberg from the government. But when he transforms in, he just like blows into a bunch of pieces. And I'm like, what? Bumblebee sucks now? But it was like a trick because all his body parts just like grab soldiers. Like his head, a hand comes out and grabs somebody. And then like, then he just puts himself back together.
Like Sally from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
And,
she just
yeah.
sends her hand to go grab things.
And honestly, the only reason why they do it is because Optimus like fucks Bumblebee up, and it's just so afterwards he can go back together. But and it's almost it's done in a Batman versus Superman way, but I feel like this could have worked. Is when Optimus is he's Nemesis Prime in this movie. When he's about to kill Bumblebee, Bumblebee speaks in his real voice, and that's what fucking gets to.
But how?
Nemesis, I don't know how. He just does.
Seriously, the movie doesn't explain it?
No, he just does it all of a sudden.
He's just able to talk?
He just
Who
is
is
like,
his re-
Optimus, you're my oldest friend.
Who was his real? Who was his? Who
They
was his
don't
voice
even
actor?
fucking
I don't
come
know
up
who
with
the
a
voice actor
dime
was.
store version of why he's able to do it?
No, it just happens. It's just because, dude, he's about to die. Of course he can do it now, right?
Yeah, you know how people like in wheelchairs when their plane's crashing, like they jump up and start dancing. Like, they start doing a fucking dance.
Yeah, but no, I think if they did telegraph it a bit better and had the moment, it would have worked. But this is such an awful movie, like it doesn't. And then, so yeah, that gets through him, and he's like, Bumblebee, my oldest friend, like. You've been by my... Oh, and they do this... They retcon... Because in the first movie, isn't it that Transformers... Like, Bumblebee just showed up on Earth?
Yeah.
No, Bumblebee's been around since World War II. He went and helped kill Hitler. They have a flashback. They have a flashback. No, they have this.
Jim, you said that so nonchalantly like it wasn't important.
No, they have a flashback. When Anthony Hopkins is talking, because he's like... Anthony Hopkins is in his secret room because he's been guarding these secrets.
Bumblebee helped kill Hitler.
I mean, I don't know if he specifically...
Bumblebee was he just went up and played a clip of on the radio. Kill yourself.
Actually, let me correct that.
And Hitler was like, okay.
Actually, correct that. Bumblebee doesn't help kill Hitler, but Bumblebee does help like take over like a Nazi stronghold. Although there is another Transformer that they do specifically say killed Hitler. It's a little pocket watch that's like a pocket watch locked up in a case. But when someone picks it up and looks at it, it's like roar, and it has all these like knives and things in it.
Hitler.
And then yeah, Anthony Hopkins is like, "Be careful with that. That killed Hitler."
What a ridiculous one-off line. No, yeah, that's 100% fake. Because, yeah, but they had all just shown up.
Yeah, no, but
Unless they are like, but no, and they didn't know much about Earth, so they can't even claim
Yeah.
that they had been to Earth before.
they look at a poster. It's like a World War II propaganda poster with Bumblebee on it, and Mark Wahlberg's like, "That looks like Bumblebee," and he's like, "That is Bumblebee," and then Bumblebee's like, "I don't remember," and then they do a flashback, and it's like they're pretending to go to like a.
Wait, they had him not remember? They couldn't have just been like, I couldn't tell anybody. I
Yeah,
can't
no.
talk.
No, he's like, I don't, because Anthony Hopkins is like, Bumblebee, like I know you, and then he's like, he uses the like the Big Sean song where it's like, I don't fuck with you or whatever, but he's like, I don't know you, and
Wait, but Bumblebee's only called Bumblebee because he was a yellow sports car.
Why is that a fucking real thing
Yeah.
that happened in that movie?
that's a real thing. That's a real thing.
What does old Bumblebee look like? Is he still like his name is because he's yellow?
No, he was like a undercover, like they made it look like they were Nazis going to this building.
Oh, that's a Nazi car.
Yeah, they were just
Let it
it was just like a military vehicle. But then they're asking for their invitations to the party. I mean, kind of like Wonder Woman when they're going to they sneaking into the party.
Right.
But then they're like, we don't got invitations. All of a sudden, Bumblebee comes out and starts like, yeah.
Oh no.
But yeah, so there's that, and then he talks to Optimus, and then all the old knights, because all these old Transformer knights have been laying dormant since forever, I guess. But once they realize that Optimus, when he was Nemesis Prime, was helping the evil lady, they want to kill him, and then Optimus is like, "I failed you. I've failed Earth. Like, I deserve this."
I failed a planet that kicked me off their planet.
So this giant Transformer's got this huge sword, and he's about to behead Optimus Prime. And all of a sudden, Mark Wahlberg just does a move, and the thing that's been in his arm turns into a sword, and he stops the fucking sword.
That's not real.
Yes. Yeah.
No, it's not,
He
Jim.
stops
Now you're
the-
just making things up. I'm gonna text you after I've seen it and be like, Jim, that sword thing never happened.
Yes, but the greatest thing that happens after Bumblebee
Better than the
talks.
Big Sean song?
This is great. After Bumblebee talks and brings Optimus back, then they finally get together and they're gonna go fight the lady and they're gonna save Earth. And Optimus, they're finally in the big final battle, and Optimus is trying to fight the lady, and he's doing good, but then she kind of gets the upper hand on him, and she's trying to turn him back into Nemesis Prime. And then Optimus is fuck, what was his first line? Let me see if I made a note of it or not. Shit, because he has a line. Oh, no, okay. It's almost like, Scarface, say hello to my little friend.
Yeah.
Except he goes, say hello to my friend. And then Bumblebee comes up from behind her and he goes, sting like a bee. And, and then he shoots her and kills her. And dude, I laughed out loud. So loud. I laughed out loud so loud. No one else did. And there was a lot of people in the theater. And I wasn't holding it in.
It was like you and me watching Man
yeah.
of Steel, where it's at some point in time we just couldn't help it.
I couldn't hold it in. And I just went, what? And I was like, what? There were moments during this movie where I kept saying, what is this? What the fuck is this? And yeah, he goes, sting like a bee. And then it was like, yeah, I fucking did it. And then I'm seeing tweets on Twitter, the promoted tweets, and they're from the Transformers account, it's come roll out one last time. They ain't going to seem like this is the last Transformers.
Well,
but this movie specifically ends with them being we'll see you in the next one.
Well, they're saying that because apparently all the other movies are all spin-offs now.
Oh, yeah. I did hear they're doing a Bumblebee movie or something like that.
They're doing other Transformers movies, but they're all spin-offs, so they don't count as a Transformers movie.
I can't wait to see the one about the pocket watch that killed Hitler.
Oh, yeah, because it does come back up because Anthony Hopkins all the leaders are in their safe bunkers or whatever, but Anthony Hopkins knows the secret way in the British one, and the Prime Minister's there. And then all security surrounds him, and he's like, I wouldn't do anything. And he pulls out the pocket watch, because if I let this guy out, we're all dead or whatever.
They have a Transformer jar, watch out, that Transformer caused 9/11.
Oh, there is a great, another great
That's
moment.
the Transformer that crashed into the Pentagon.
There is another great moment that I had to laugh out loud at because, of course, the meeting point where they're sucking the life out of Earth is Stonehenge, so they have to go to Stonehenge. And Anthony Hopkins is the first one to show up, and Megatron and everyone's there. And he's kind of hiding, but then he comes out and his cane he's been having the whole time is a kick-ass gun, and he shoots a few of the Transformers. And then at one point, at one point they just look at him and they just blast him, and he goes fucking flying through the air. I couldn't stop laughing because it was just Anthony Hopkins' old ass body flying through the air.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But yeah, I mean, I know there was a lot more too, but I couldn't I can't remember all of the greatness of the moments that happened, but those were the ones that really stood out. So, and through all this, they're cutting to the military, and the military is we're chasing Mark Wahlberg because we're leading him to Megatron because we need to see what Megatron wants to do with the staff. We don't know how it's important. And then Megatron's we need to see why he has the talisman. And then the girl, he's like, stay here. I'm going to England because he has to go to England to meet Anthony Hopkins.
BRB going to England.
And he just has a passing reference to like, we're family. And she's like, never had family. Like her parents are dead or something. And then she's with Gerard Carmichael. Then they just show up at the end and they do the thing where like they're on the plane to go for the big mission and she like pops up out of like a cooler or whatever. And they're like, oh, how'd you get here? Like no one else talks to this girl. That's why I feel like she for sure was maybe some
like
weird
reshoots added in kind of thing.
They do add a moment where Squeaks goes in and like takes out a big gun because he's like a little scared Transformers, and she's like, "You're little and ugly. They'll never notice you," or something.
I'll fucking like yeah, hey, let's rally the audience behind this guy by calling him little and ugly.
And then he like sneaks in and does blow up this gun or whatever, but no one else really reacts to it. It's just kind of a moment that happens. So yeah, go see Transformers 5, bro.
Yeah, you sold me. Thanks, Jim.
I already have my ticket. Kind of have to still see it.
I'm just telling you, you can walk out if you want to. But let me know. Just let me know what you. Maybe I'm gonna help you on this. Maybe I'm helping you because now you know to expect some of these things.
No, actually, it really does because I know you and me, like legitimately, we've said we liked 1 and 3.
Yeah,
and there was always the joke of like, hey. It seems like only the odd ones are good. We got an odd one.
Yeah.
And the last one was so bad that it's like, it's got to be a step up. So it is nice to have my expectations tempered.
And the thing is, yeah, I mean, for this type of movie, they could have made a good movie, but there's so many things in it where you're like, what are they doing? What is this? Where did this come from? It really feels like there's 3 movies here, and they just kind of put them all together. Because there's the little girl thing. Then there's whatever Megatron's doing for most of the movie. And then, like I said, Optimus isn't even there most of the time. And then he shows up at the end.
Is Grimlock back?
Which one's Grimlock?
The dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus
Yeah, Grimlock's
Rex.
back. And then there's another dinosaur one.
Which one?
There's like a Triceratops.
Puke, I think his name is.
Something
Puke
like
or
that.
something, or
yeah.
Scab or something.
I did kind of doze off a little bit at the beginning when they're doing... It was just all the standard, like... He's yelling at the little girl for being there, but then it's kind of like, hey, but you're going to be here. It was just all that shit. And then, yeah, that was when Grimlock comes, and he's like, let it down. Put it down, Grimlock. Hey, Grimlock.
Slag. His name's Slag.
Oh, is his name
I told you, they just have names like they're fucking Battletoads.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing. They have this moment where, yeah, the government makes a deal with Megatron because...
What?
Because
they make a deal with Megatron?
Yeah.
That sounds like fan fiction.
Because they're trying to get Mark Wahlberg, or they want to know what this talisman or the staff is all about. And they have this whole segment where they meet him in the desert, and they have lawyers there that are sitting down. Like, they set up these desks for the lawyers.
To meet with Megatron?
Yes.
Megatron meets lawyers in the desert?
Then one of the military guys makes a joke like, you know who they kill first? Lawyers. And then the lawyers are all scared. And the meeting is Megatron's like, I need you to let some of my boys out for my crew. And he's like, I need, Mohawk. But it does this thing where then it cuts to Mohawk in jail, and he's just a fucking punk rocker looking Transformer. And he's like saying stuff like, y'all can't hold me. I'm the best. And then they're like, all right. And then the lawyers look at each other. They make a call, and they're like, we could do that. And then he's like, and I also need, like, Fireball. And they show Fireball, and he's like a Hannibal Lecter or something. And they're like, no way, we can't do that. And they're like, give us another name. And then they'll say a name, and they keep cutting to a thing. And then they finally let that crew out. And then when the crew shows up and they chase Mark Wahlberg, they all get killed.
Megatron sealed their fate.
They all die. Like, that's like a whole, like, 20 to 30 minutes that could have just not been in the movie or trimmed down to like 10 minutes. You know what I mean?
I think I can wholeheartedly say that I have never wanted to see a movie less in my entire
Well, don't worry. When we do
life.
the Patreon commentary for it, you'll see it.
No. What day is that? I think I'm sick.
We're going to tell you we're seeing something else.
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know what they're trying to say because usually Michael Bay's like loves the government and like military. That's why there was always like military presence in his movie. But this kind of had the sense of like the government's doing bad. They're being selfish because they're making deals with Megatron. Man, it's a false flag.
I'm glad
Michael
that
Bay's like drain the swamp.
I was gonna say like if this movie was more mass appeal, it would be like you'd see so many people being like, yeah, of course Trump would make a deal with Megatron.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's such like the fucking like comparing Trump to fucking Harry Potter and shit. That's such
Yeah.
a like, yeah. In Trump's America, all of a sudden our government's making deals with Megatron.
All right. Well, I've talked about that enough. That's the part 1. So I hope you love that fucking.
Thank God. The
segment.
sweet embrace. Oh wait, we have to do a part 2. Fuck.
Yeah.